You are Locked On Rockets Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Just keep winning. That's exactly what the Houston Rockets do tonight as they take down the Washington Wizards by a final of 107-92. The Rockets improving to 7-4 on the young NBA season. Hello and welcome tonight to the Locked On Rockets Postcast. I am your host, Michael Connor. If you are new to this channel, first of all, thank you for stopping by, whether it's live or recorded later on. Always appreciate you guys and the support that you give us here on this channel and across the Locked On network. Tonight, we got a lot of things to get to. A very weird win for the Rockets tonight. It's okay to acknowledge that a win is weird, and there's a big reason why it was weird. You missed Fred VanVleet. We're going to talk about that as well. We'll also take a look at the next game, the first of two straight for the Rockets against a Western Conference opponent in the Los Angeles Clippers. We'll do all of that over our time together here tonight on the Locked On Rockets Postcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So, first off, like I said, it's okay to say it's a weird but good win because it was strange tonight, wasn't it? Everything about it. First of all, it's a Monday night. It's a dead night across the NBA. There wasn't even many games tonight. There was probably a total of one, two, three, four, five games across the league tonight. You're one of them. Both teams coming off of a back-to-back. Both travel. Obviously, the Wizards traveled to town, but the Rockets had to travel back into town as well after the matinee win over the Detroit Pistons yesterday. So, you've got tired legs. You're not expecting the best of basketball games. And it's not that the basketball game was bad tonight. It was just weird. When you go look at the box score of it. Now, I'm not going to completely spoil what we're going to talk about in a minute because I do want to get deeper into him. And when he's not playing, the Rockets won that game tonight 107-92. They made 40 shots in the basketball game tonight. 40. They had 13 assists the entire night. How is that possible? That's why I said it's a weird win. Everything about it was weird. And yes, you don't have Fred VanVleet. He's out. Hamstring. Okay, he's older and he's getting the night off on the back-to-back. That's what happened there. I love when they try to hide. I love that the NBA forces teams to lie about players' health. But we want guys to play all the time. Well, here's the thing. You're never going to get guys to play an 82-game season every single night, and you're never going to get the teams to not lie about it, and then you're also never going to get any change out of that because, well, if you played fewer games, maybe you would. They're never going to play fewer games. TV dollars, all those things. I get it. It is what it is. But 13 assists in a 48-minute game, you hit 40 shots. The other part of the box score, when you talk about oddities of this game, because again, it was just an odd game. A good game for the Rockets. Wasn't they shot well from the field. They didn't shoot well from three. They were 5 of 23 from three tonight. They crushed on the boards. Absolutely. And that's been one of my favorite parts of this early part of this season. And you see this on a nightly basis. And tonight it was Alpi. Alpi had a matchup that he knew he'd go out and just dominate on. And guess what Alpi did? He said, 1, give me the rock. Watch this. 27 points in the game. 2, I'm going to crush the glass. Watch this. And he grabbed 17 rebounds on the night. 17 of the Rockets, 58 in the game. Turnover battle was pretty much even, 19-18. But again, that stood out to me the most. The 13 assists on the night. And also the free throw discrepancy. Excuse me. That was the other thing I was looking for. Free throw discrepancy. Rockets 22 of 25. Wizards just 9 of 13. And there was a point in the game when the Rockets were over 20 and the Wizards had like 6 free throw attempts. Maybe the refs just like the Rockets better. Now look, the overall big picture of this game, the Rockets are a far better team than the Washington Wizards. That was some talent that came into the Toyota Center tonight that was not the same. And what are you expected to do in those situations? Well, you're expected to go out and take care of your business exactly like they did. And when you do that, look what happens. Even though it was, they got the lead to like 15 at one point in that first half or early in the second half. And there was multiple times where it got up into double digits, between 10 and 15. And it's like, okay, they can go really put this thing away. And then they wouldn't. And then the Wizards would go and they'd reel off a 7-0 run. Or they had a stretch at one point there in the third where the Wizards pulled off like 9 straight points. And then early in the fourth, they had another run. And that's why it was just, to me, just a strange basketball game. It's like you had a lead. I never had any point in the basketball game tonight where I thought this one's in danger. Like, this is going to be one of those losses that's bad. From the tip, I mean, look, they won the first quarter 30-28, but even then, I was like, you know what? They're going to win this game. Won't be a problem. And it turned out it wasn't. And they do pull away there, of course, 107-92. But they could have, it felt like a little bit they could have pulled away earlier. And maybe that's just me being too picky. And that's okay. I'm like everybody else, right? You prefer you win that game 127-92 and you get the starters out at, the 26-28 minute mark on their playing time tonight. Like, Jabari played 32. Dylan Brooks played 33. Şengün played 31. Jalen Green played 37. Amen Thompson got the start tonight with Fred VanVleet out. He had 28 minutes, but I'm not worried about him in minutes right now. He needs all the run he can get. So again, am I being picky? Of course I'm being picky. And that's okay. When you win and you're 7-4, I'm allowed to be picky. I am now back to, at this moment, 11 games in, back to being a bougie and spoiled fan through 11 games because they're playing good basketball. They're taking care of their business. They're winning games they're supposed to. And they've won, how many games did you say they've won? 2 games that you probably went into that they thinking that they wouldn't win, that they did win. The Knicks game and the Dallas game. Those are probably 2 games when you go in on paper before and you say, you're going to lose. The other one, only one that you look back on that stinks is the Golden State game. Yeah, should have had that one. But you just went dead silent in the overtime after clawing back. And I've been very impressed through the first 11 games of the season, what I've seen. I think they're finding an identity. Is it perfect? No. Like I mentioned, I mean, you go look at the box score tonight, some of those things I bring up, 3-point shooting is still at times atrocious on this team. Defensive effort, I think, is always there. I think they had a really good defensive night tonight. They were just picking pockets of the Wizards all night long. And it's crazy. Go look at the box score there, too. The Wizards actually had more steals. I felt like the Rockets had more steals than they did. They had 12. But Amen Thompson was a monster in that regard. He was also a monster when it came to blocking shots. He had 4. Alpi also blocked 3. But Jalen Green had a couple steals. Tari Eason. Every night, I'm telling you, man, every night Tari Eason affects the basketball game in a hugely positive fashion. And he is a massive X factor for this basketball team already. They're going to continue this all season long. I think every night I'm going to have at least one thing to say about Tari Eason. And I do again tonight. Great minutes. Great defense again tonight. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks off the bench. That is making an impact. A big impact. And, I haven't looked into the league so far this season. And I know it's a award that people don't care about. But, he's got to be in the early mix of contenders for 6th man of the year based off the way that he's played. Now, a lot of times you'll see guys that score a lot off the bench who get those things. And, he's not going to be – I'm interested to see what the ceiling is on his offensive game. He's about 12 points per game right now, 11.8. They come down a little bit tonight with 10. But if he could ever be a 15-point-a-night guy and do what he does, that is 6th man of the year quality. And honestly, at some point, he's going to play starters like minutes. But, maybe one day you're like, hey, you know what? This guy needs to start too. Good win. Again, so many great things to talk about. How about not having Fred VanVleet? Let's talk about what their identity is when they don't have that. We saw a little bit of that tonight without Fred out there on the floor. We'll discuss that next here on the Locked On Rockets postcast following the 107-92 win over the Wizards. All right, I need to tell you guys about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Locked On Rockets postcast tonight. After the 107-92 win, sorry, I'm about to take things out here on my desk with my 100 milliliter water bottle that I drink during the show. Hello and welcome back to the show. If you're new to this channel tonight, I am your host, Michael Connor. If you are not aware of who I am a former radio person here in the city of Houston. I did Rockets, I did Astros, pre and post game shows, and I talked all sports in general for many years on the radio. And we've been doing this now I shouldn't say almost, that's April. April will be our, I can't remember the exact date. In April will be our 1-year anniversary of this channel. It's been a great channel so far. Really appreciate you guys supporting it like you have. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you are new tonight. Always appreciate that. And of course, come on back every time that we do this. We'll do this again Wednesday night when the Rockets play the Los Angeles Clippers, which, by the way, will be a regular season game. When they meet again on Friday night at the Toyota Center, that'll be an NBA Cup. And I'm not giving the free plug to the NBA sponsor for that. It's an airline that's very large and luxurious. If you've not heard of it, well, then there you go. Hey, if you're looking for this show when it comes to the podcast form of it, don't forget that you can get this, anywhere that you get your podcast. Go and search for Locked On Rockets. When you get to that spot, wherever that app is that you get it, Spotify, you name it. I'm a big Spotify guy, so I'm going to be on Apple Podcast, wherever it might be. I use Spotify. Anywhere that you get your podcast, search Locked On Rockets. You'll get this show plus the Locked On Rockets show. It's a fantastic daily show covering your Rockets, really in-depth coverage from Jackson Gatlin. Don't forget to make sure you check out his YouTube page as well, the Locked On Rockets YouTube page. Great content constantly. And it's not just like his shows that he has on the content up there, which I appreciate. It's there's always practice stuff. There's media availability stuff. He's got it all covered. You guys go check it out again, the Locked On Rockets page on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button there and hit the subscribe button here and keep on taking us in as your Rockets, hopefully your #1 source for Rockets commentary. Thanks to the Locked On Network. Hey, no Fred VanVleet tonight for the Rockets. Again, they have to lie to the NBA and tell them that he's dealing with something with hamstring tonight. Okay, buddy. Yeah, I get that. My nephews, they love to say, okay, buddy. But the Rockets look different without Fred VanVleet out there. And different isn't bad, and different isn't good necessarily. Elements tonight might have looked better to you. And the element probably more than anything was speed. Now, the Rockets' objective this season, they talked about it a lot, was to play faster. And I think overall, they have played a faster brand of basketball this season. Tonight was probably their ultra speed level because Amen Thompson's out there kind of steering the ship. You've got Jalen Green kind of steering the ship as well. Even at times, Reed Shepherd will get out there and steer the ship. And I loved one of those moments for Reed Shepherd. He knocked down his only 3 of the game tonight, and it was a pull up in transition. I just love that. I would like to see more of that from him. But tonight they might have looked a little bit faster to you. But then there's the other side of it. The stat that I bring up to start the show that makes this such a weird game, that the Rockets win 107-92. They knock down 40 shots, but they have just 13 assists as a team. 13! Like, you knocked down 40. How do you not fall into like 7 more? Like, how does it not have somebody throws the ball and just casually gets an assist? It's because tonight, without Fred, they played more of a one-on-one style play, which, aesthetically is not the most pleasing sight as a fan. Like, we all went through the James Harden era here in Houston. It got tiring after a while to watch a guy just dribble. There's a lot of that tonight. A lot of dribble. There wasn't a lot of Fred, bringing it up the floor, setting it up, doing their thing, moving the ball. And he's also a guy that does not turn the basketball over. And they turned the ball over tonight. What was it I say the total was? 19 to the Wizards 18. 6 of those came from Jalen because he doesn't need to be the primary ball handler. Steven Adams actually had 4 of them tonight too. Steven, what are you doing? Those 2 were the main culprits. The rest of the guys were, 2 apiece. Amen, Dylan Brooks, Alpi, Tariq, and then Aaron Holiday had 1 as well. But I've talked a little bit about it and where the Rockets' future holds when it comes to Fred VanVleet. He's got the option for next year. I think it's a player option, I believe, which, to be honest with you, if he doesn't exercise that player option, I think he's getting bad advice from somebody. The Rockets had to overpay to get him. It's fine. It is what it is. It's a team option, for next year, $44.8 million. I would decline it unless you're going to trade him. But I do know that they like him, and they brought him in here for a reason. And I see the things that he does that make them more effective. He's had a rough start this year shooting the basketball. There's no denying that. He's probably not pleased at all with his first. Has he played 10 games so far? Yeah, 10 games so far this season, 37% from the field, 28 from 3, and averaging just 13 points. But he is, as his sister, actually down to 5.8 overall. But I think he's, I think there's been some signs of some things there that are slowly starting to point in the right direction. The one thing that has been for him is that he just does not turn the ball over. And I think that is the biggest difference when you don't have him out there. When he's not there, they're going to be a team that turns the ball over more. And you're going to have to overcome that. And tonight they're able to because they're playing an inferior opponent. But let's say just in a hypothetical world that Fred VanVleet can't go Wednesday night against the Clippers, which he'll go. But if he couldn't, the Rockets can't play tonight's level of basketball, even if I don't think that Clippers team is like the greatest things to slice bread. And, James Harden will probably spend his night the night before in a strip club that he frequents in the city of Houston and probably won't be in the best of shape for that basketball game. But you can't play like this tonight without Fred if you were to not have him again and expect to win a lot of games against good teams. It's just not going to happen. The Wizards, they can't shoot all that well. They've shot 40% from the field, 41 basically. They did shoot 35 from 3, better than what you did, but they didn't get to the line at all. They don't have offensive firepower. And Kuzma was coming back, their best player tonight, first game back. Not expecting a lot out of him. So I did notice the stark difference, I think, in what the Rockets look like with Fred VanVleet and what they look like when he's not on the floor. And love him or hate him or being indifferent to him, I'm kind of in the middle. I think he's a solid decision maker. I know that he can play a good defense. I think he's a pretty good floor leader. He's not fast. He's not great at separation all the time. He can find his way to a shot, but he's not a big guy. He's not going to. He needs other things to happen to create shots. But it's all the intangibles more than anything else that you have him for. So you miss him when he's not there for that. But then you also don't miss some of the slow elements when he is out there on the floor. or when he's not out there on the floor, excuse me. So just an observation that I wanted to make sure we went over tonight from tonight's basketball game. Let's take a look to that next game against the Clippers, the first of 2 straight against those Los Angeles Clippers. We'll do that next here on the Locked On Rockets Postcast. Maybe you're looking to get into a big game, whether it's that basketball game, whether it's a football game. Maybe it's a big concert. Maybe it's a big comedy event, whatever it might be. You can get that with the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app today, and, well, you'll get started with a fantastic ability to get to said events quite easily. Look, there are so many great features about the Gametime app. I bring them up to you guys every time I talk about the Gametime app because I enjoy the Gametime app. I enjoy an app that gives me the ability, first of all, to know what I'm about to pay for. Up front, you can toggle this feature in the app. It is the all-in pricing. There are so many websites and apps that you go to get tickets where you get to check out and there's a billion fees that you had no idea existed. Guess what? With the Gametime app, you toggle that feature for the all-in pricing on, and when you're searching for seats, play process of elimination for your number because you can get the all-in price. All the fees, everything is shown to you before you go and make that purchase or before you go and put it into your cart and start the checkout process. How nice is that? Why others don't do it? I don't know. Gametime, they're doing it. They also give you my second favorite feature, the other one that I love to remind you, which I don't know why anybody would go to a game and not use the 3D seat views to see where you're sitting. Do it. It's worth it. That way you know, and you can check out your seats right there in the app. They also have the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% the difference. They're stepping up big there with Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Gametime picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. Locked On Rockets Postcast, 107-92 win for the Rockets tonight. I am your host, Michael Connor, here with you for a few more minutes. Breaking it all down. Appreciate you guys. Again, if you're live, thank you. If you're watching it later on, don't forget, if you're new, to hit the subscribe button. We'll be back after all the games right here on the channel. And again, we will be here Wednesday night following the Clippers game, the first of 2 straight for that one. And again, don't forget to go ahead and also listen to this podcast. Anywhere that you get podcasts, go and search for Locked On Rockets. And again, it is absolutely free. Rockets getting this win tonight. They will look to get another win against that Clippers team. Like I mentioned on Wednesday night, Rockets now looking to start a winning streak. They could make it 3 in a row if they're able to pull off that win against that Clippers team. That Clippers team is actually playing, or they already played again. They already played tonight. They lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder 134-128. Of course, they've got, old man Kawhi Leonard, who's constantly hurt. James Harden's, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that James Harden wanted to come back, and there were some people that were on board with it. I am so pleased he did not. They also have Kevin Porter Jr. I'm not going to talk about what Kevin Porter Jr. did and how those charges mysteriously, started to go away or went away, I guess. The charges got dropped. I'm going to be honest with you. I hope he gets booed when they come back to town. That's a personal thing, And then you hear the stories about how he acted when he was here, and the guy thought he was James Harden. Dude, you're like a best of 15 point a night guy in the league. So I'm gonna be honest. I hope Toyota Center boos the crap out of him on Wednesday night. We'll see how that reaction goes. Probably won't, but I wouldn't be mad at it at all. Wasted time and energy on that guy. Did the Rockets and gave him a leash that was way too long, and then he showed you who he is. He showed his backside, I think is the nicest thing to say. if the Rockets, again, like I mentioned, if they play like they did tonight, they won't be able to win that basketball game in all likelihood. The Clippers will put up some offensive numbers. Defensively, they're not going to do a lot. So you're going to be able to score on them. Question is, who's going to be? Is it going to be a Jalen Green night? Is it going to be an Alpe night? I think it's going to have to be a collective effort type of thing. It'll be the first 2 looks against them. I guess if you're going into it thinking, hey, split 2 in a row, but I guess the more important one would be the game Friday night, the NBA Cup, if you want to win the NBA Cup. Don't forget to, again, join us after the game. Wraps up Wednesday night, another 7 o'clock tip. So around this time, 9:30-ish, we should be live on the channel, breaking it down. What we see, hopefully, is another victory for your Houston Rockets. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave if you haven't just yet. Keep growing this channel. I appreciate you guys doing that, as you always do across the shows right here on the Locked On Sports Houston page. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night. We'll talk again Wednesday night. Locked On Rockets Postcast.